Hi, Dr. Ruth Anderson here with you today from Enlightened World. And today, some of you know, it's our big launch day. We just launched our very first paperback coming from Enlightened World. And this one is an anthology, which means that different authors have their own chapter. This is called Gateway to an Enlightened World, Collective Life Lessons to Support Planetary Transformation. And I have Sue Broome, who was not only a co-author in this, but she helped create the cover. So Sue Broome, come on and say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Well, and what Ruth doesn't say is Ruth has a very clear vision because she knew what she wanted the cover to look like. So really, it's just she did the Kindle version all the way through and through, and I just, for the paperback, I just kind of put the pieces together that Ruth wanted as a part of it. So we make a good team that way, Miss Ruth.
We do make a good team that way. I'm looking forward to many more projects with you soon. So we wanted to take a quick minute and just update folks on where we are with our Amazon bestseller status. So all of you co-authors, woohoo, we are Amazon bestsellers, and we are represented in actually 5 different categories. One is angels, one is spiritual gifts, one is angels and spirit guides, and we are in the bestseller status for those. And then for hot new releases, we are number 2 in spiritual gifts and number 3 in hot new release for angels. So very exciting. And I would ask any of you, if you have anyone that you think might benefit from a book on spiritual transformation that can make you laugh, make you cry, and give you goosebumps all at the same time, I think this book. So please tell your friends it is on Amazon. And I guess with that, let's hear from Sue Broome. Sue, you wrote a chapter called Reach Beyond the Stars. And I love that title because it is so apropos for the relationships that you have with other ethereal beings. It is absolutely reaching beyond the stars. So could you talk to us about what prompted you to write this particular article for this particular book?
Well, first, I'm going to back up with Reach Beyond the Stars. I was kind of surprised at the title. And that, of course, was not me. And the reason I say that is because that's also one of the cards from The Desert Speaks, my first Oracle deck. And I remember when I was putting the words to that, I was going to put reach to the stars. And the angel said, no, it's beyond. And it's like, oh, okay. So I find it interesting, and I wish I would have grabbed that card, because in the card itself, it does look like this plant has arms, and it looks like it's reaching out beyond the nighttime sky.
Oh, nice.
So, when you asked for us to, whether we wanted to put a story in the book or not, I wasn't sure. It's like, all right, guys, what am I going to say? And it was interesting because it's like, okay, so there's a part of me, I've been working with Syrian blue energy for a couple of years. And how it actually came about was I was working on a client, and this person clearly had serious connections, the planet Sirius connections. And in working, yes.
Serious connections. Serious.
Yes.
Got it.
Serious connections. And it was through that healing session that it's like, I saw this blue dot coming in, and it's like, all right, what is this? And afterwards, I was even like, well, was that part of what, one of his guides, or is this something that I'm supposed to be working with now? What's going on? Because I had worked with Arcturians before, and Pleiadians. And there were some, we would call them the watchers, where they would kind of watch when we were doing healing work. They wouldn't interfere, they just watched. But so this was a little different. And the more, well, fast forward just a little bit, and I was working and I was having a session on something, and these blue angels, these huge blue angels started showing up. And I'm like, okay, I've never seen them before. And it wasn't like they were wearing blue. It was, they were blue.
They were blue. Yeah.
Yes. And so what happened, and maybe, I can't remember if I had shared this with you, because I thought I had put it in the story, but I didn't. There was one day I was doing a meditation and I could see the angels, and I could see these blue angels, and they were in different circles standing around me. And then all of a sudden, it's like the back circle took a step forward, the front circle took a step back, and they merged.
Oh.
And what it felt like to me was that the Syrian blue energy showed itself as an angel, because they know that I'm used to working with angels. But it was also very clear that I am supposed to start working with my Syrian roots, because I am connected to the Syrian roots. I am connected to the Pleiadians. I am connected to the Arcturians. And so it was like, okay, Sue, this is, you're going to put yourself out there in a different way, because some people know about this, but it's not something I might nonchalantly mention it when I'm doing a Facebook Live, but it's not something that I've ever stood, done a whole talk on it or anything. So it's like, okay, this was a way to bring, here's the angels, here's the Syrian blue energy, and they are now both a part of, when I do healing work, they are just both there. And I've gotten some pretty interesting pictures of blue energy that Syrian energy has said that, yes, okay, that's us showing us to you in a different way, in a more physical way.
So how does that healing energy feel? Feel different to you than other healing energy of just, I'm gonna say just an angel, but I don't mean just an angel, but does it feel different?
It does. And, I'm going to preface this with there is the good and the bad, and the higher vibration, lower vibration, that's all ego stuff. Okay. But what I have, as the healing work that I've done over the years, because I've taken Reiki, I'm a Reiki master, a divine coding Reiki master, because by the time I got my Reiki master, I was already working with divine coding energy. And I've always felt that divine coding was kind of like Reiki on steroids. That's what it felt like to me. Okay. So what I have discovered, and I'm going to use with clearing energy, especially because that's been so big. And I've worked with Archangel Michael for so many years. It's like Michael goes through and clears the energy and cuts the cords and vacuums. It was always kind of a joke that he vacuums. Oh, he's a man that vacuums? Well, and Syrian blue is like, almost like it's a blink of an eye, and does it instead of vacuuming your house, it's a spring cleaning of your house.
Interesting.
So, but I know that it's all together, and it's just, for me, it's my evolution of where I am and how I'm working with the angels, the divine. So that's how it feels different.
Interesting. Because I know I've worked with probably 10 different healers, divine healers that aren't angels and aren't archangels. They're just different. And each one of them has their own different energy, and each one of them does different things. So interesting. So do you think that they will always represent themselves to you as a blue angel, or do you think that might shift as you are more and more comfortable with their energy?
Oh, it's already shifted because I don't see them as a blue angel anymore. I just know that they're there. And what's interesting is Metatron and Saint Germain, they have been coming into my healing sessions like big time over the last, I would say maybe month. But it's interesting how even Metatron with his cube is working with Syrian blue energy. It's like it's just all melded. So it's not even like, you know, I can say that it's like if you make spaghetti sauce, it's like it's really difficult to say, well, there's a piece of oregano and there's a piece of garlic. It's like it's spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
So now they're just part of my healing team and my guides. And so does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think it's fascinating, really, because I know when I work with those healers, Divine Mother and Archangel Michael are always in the room when I'm working with them. So there really is this bringing together of these divine healers and these divine energies. I just think it's fascinating, really.
Well, it's like, so last week I went to Sedona and I spent some time working with somebody else energetically with clearing Sedona and doing some healing work. And as I was watching that evolve, it's like there are guardians of Sedona that have been asleep. Wow. And I'm like, it was so bizarre to me. It was like if you're sitting and you know, lean forward and go to sleep, it was like that's how they were. The more healing work we did, they sat up. And then all of a sudden I was checking in a couple days later and it's like, oh my gosh, they're standing. So the energy is so much clearer, and they're able to, you know, take in the energy instead of everybody always taking the energy when they go to Sedona. So it is fascinating to me, Ruth, how it all plays together and works together. And yeah, it's amazing.
Well, and recently all fingers are pointing towards Sedona. I have heard so many people in the last 2 weeks talk about either going to Sedona, just got back from Sedona, or going, you know, there's so much happening over there right now. Very cool.
Yeah, and it was really, because I was there a few weeks before that, and it was like night and day, because I had started some of the work then and kind of laying some groundwork, and I could see that it had to be done in stages. And I've cleared. I mean, Sedona is one of those places. I love going to Sedona, but I have to make sure that the energy is clear before I go, because otherwise I'm feeling the stuff that everybody else has released. It's right. Like, I don't want that.
Right. You know, Sue Broome, you were one of those people that I could talk to literally for hours, and I have, but we're not going to today. But I do know that there are people watching this would like to know how to find you, how to follow the work that you're doing.
Easiest way is go to my website. It's got my healing work out there. It's got my readings that I do. It's got my products. I have a couple deck of cards. I have a couple of my own books. I have other anthology books I'm a part of. I have a connection to over 100 journals that I've created. And I have links to the online classes that I have, which I'm going to put just a plug in there for those, because one of them, it's called Memories Shared with Your Loved Ones. It's a free online course. But right now, there's such a need for people who are really missing their loved ones at the holidays, at the time of the holidays, and they can sign up for free. Go through it at their own pace. It's right on my homepage. Just go to SueBroome.com.
Nice. And you can also find Sue Broome's work over at Enlightened World. So that you can go to www.enlightenedworld.online and track down Sue in that way. So just a reminder, when you can, go on to Amazon, pick up this lovely anthology, Gateway to an Enlightened World, Collective Life Lessons to Support Planetary Transformation. Sue, thank you so very much for your work on this anthology and for being with us here today.
Well, thank you, Miss Ruth. I appreciate it. This has been an awesome journey. So thank you so much for including me.
You bet. Okay. Thanks, everyone.